The Eagles released this statement on Jackson, which read in part, regardless of his intentions, the messages he shared were offensive, harmful, and absolutely appalling. They have no place in our society and are not condoned or supported in any way by the organization. We are disappointed, and we reiterated to DeSean the importance of not only apologizing, but also using his platform to take action to promote unity, equality, and respect. We are continuing to evaluate the circumstances and will take appropriate action. Max, I want to start with you. What's your reaction to these comments by DeSean Jackson?
Sorry, did you ask me, Molly?
Yeah, you, Max, please.
First of all, I'm Jewish, so I'd like to accept DeSean Jackson's apology, but I need to know more. Part of the quote, they will extort America. Their plan, meaning the Jews, for world domination won't work if the Negroes knew who they were. This is not about uplifting black people primarily. This is about, if you think about it, DeSean, why black people are in a bad position. Jews are being scapegoated. First of all, there's no truth in it. Jews do not have a plan for world domination. I have no plan for world domination. And there is no secret cabal with some plan for world domination. I don't even know what blackmail or extort America means in this context. I don't think you do either, and I don't think anyone does. It's unintelligible. It doesn't make any sense. And it plays on the worst kind of anti-Semitic tropes and stereotypes through the years, especially scapegoating Jews for problems. So what it appears to me is that DeSean Jackson is susceptible to low-quality information. And in the internet age, it's very dangerous to be that way. For those, especially people who disseminate these messages, are hoping that influencers, like maybe DeSean Jackson, who are susceptible to low-quality information, accept this information as true, this disinformation as true, and disseminate it and use their influence to get people to agree with it. So if DeSean Jackson wants to educate people, then DeSean, you should become educated. I've dealt with DeSean Jackson, nice guy, I like him. But, and I'd like to accept his apology, not just as a Jewish person, but as a person of social conscience. But I have to know more, DeSean. When you say you're tweeting this not to offend anyone, but to uplift everyone, why does it say they? Why is the quote about white Jews in particular who have a plan for world domination? What is that about? You couldn't uplift African Americans without singling out Jews falsely for having some kind of conspiracy to Jews in particular to keep black people down or uninformed in order that the Jews should dominate the world? I'm glad, DeSean, that you apologized. And I would like to accept it, but brother, I gotta know more. I gotta know much more. What you've explained so far doesn't cut it.
Max Kellerman, I called DeSean Jackson yesterday. I spoke to him about it. He was incredibly contrite, very apologetic, because in his words, his message was completely misconstrued. At that time, I informed him, well, it's your fault that it was misconstrued. Because number one, you're talking about the Jewish community. Then he went into a little discussion about who he was around and what he was trying to say, but still in all, it was a bit convoluted to say the least. And you saw when he tried to express himself on video that it was a bit convoluted. So in the end, what it comes down to is this. DeSean Jackson was wrong. He was wrong to talk about the Jewish community in that fashion, particularly without thorough explanation or of the facts to really accentuate whatever point you were trying to make, because we still don't really understand it at this particular moment in time. And number three, and more importantly, consider who he works for. This is not about the National Football League at this particular moment in time, even though obviously they've issued a statement and said what they've had to say. This is about the fact that Howie Roseman, who runs football operations for the Philadelphia Eagles, is Jewish. It's about the fact that Jeffrey Lurie, who is the owner for the Philadelphia Eagles, he is Jewish, all right? And this is the man that cuts your check. You have to deal with the ramifications and the fallout from that, because make no mistake, there's going to be something, whether it's a suspension or even something more severe. Now, Here's where I will speak up and come to DeSean Jackson's defense. When he says that he meant no harm, there's nothing in this history that says that he does. He has been somebody that has been a good dude. He has contributed to the community. He has never disseminated anything close to anti-Semitic remarks in the past. A matter of fact, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, he should be perceived as more of a victim than a villain. Remember, it's the Philadelphia Eagles that let him go in 2013, or after the 2013 season in 2014. It was the excuse under the Chip Kelly regime, and don't even get me started with that, where they used his supposed affiliation with gang members that ultimately pushed him out the door, and come to find out there was no truth to the assertions that were being made about him. They castigated this man. They villainized him in ways that justified them letting him go, even though he had had like 82 receptions for over 1,300 yards, and there had been nobody in NFL history that had been traded to a team within their own division after achieving such numbers in NFL history up until that point. This is the same Philadelphia Eagles organization that in 2013, you had a guy, or 2014, Riley Cooper, a former wide receiver there who couldn't shine DeSean Jackson's shoes. This guy is at a concert. He's spewing the N-word all over the place, directing it at blacks in attendance, and specifically a black security guard. And not only was he not really suspended, he basically got a day off. And then after that, a few months later, he was given a $25 million contract extension by this same organization. So all of those things are things that we have to take into consideration. We can't explain, nor can we condone what DeSean Jackson did, because to be quite honest with you, even though I believe him as a person, I believe in his heart. I think he's a good person. I don't think he's trying to divide anybody. I think in a weird, inarticulate kind of way, he was definitely trying to uplift, folks within the black community. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.